1. The most common reason why people misinterpret the Bible is that they ignore the basic rules of interpretation and interpret the Bible according to personal opinion. 2. If we can learn and apply the basic rules of interpretation, we will learn how to interpret the Bible correctly. 3. To properly interpret the Bible takes time and effort. You will have to become what the Bible calls a workman. 4. According to God's own word, to be a workman of diligent Bible study and interpretation is not optional.
To illustrate the importance of playing by the rules, we purposely took our illustration to absurd lengths to show the chaos and confusion that occurs in a basketball game when people ignore the rules or interpret the rules according to their own opinion.
Picture with me, if you will, this scenario. A group of men get together for a pickup game of basketball, and they decide on the teams and begin to play. The game goes pretty well, at least at first. But because there's no referees, things begin to quickly deteriorate.
All right, free throw. Where are you going?
Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, free throw.
It's misquoting the rule.
Man, back there. This is the line, right?
Man.
This is the line.
It's misquoting the rule.
No, free means free.
No. It's free from
Right
there.
here.
Not free anywhere. That's
Right
misquoting.
there.
That's what your opinion is. That's good.
No, free throw is behind the free throw line.
Free throw means free throw. That's
No.
what I'm doing, is taking my free throw.
Yeah, that's overemphasizing one rule at the expense of another.
Within minutes, it becomes evident that even though everyone agrees, at least on the surface, that there are basic rules that must be followed, in reality, the majority of the people playing the game aren't playing by the actual rules at all.
Out of bounds.
Where's my bounds? You shove me out of bounds.
Doesn't matter how you get out of bounds.
No.
You're out of bounds.
And in the end, the game deteriorates into utter chaos. People are literally running around on the court doing whatever they want. They're calling it a game of basketball, but it's really not a game of basketball at all, because they have misinterpreted the rules according to personal opinion and personal preference. In effect, they've become their own referees. They've become a rule book unto themselves, each man dictating the boundaries in a way that he himself has decided most suits him. Now, I ask you, is it even possible to have a legitimate game under those conditions? Of course not. We purposely took the illustration to absurd lengths.
We then showed how the same type of chaos and confusion occurs in the modern church, when so-called people of faith use the Bible to set forth their own ideas and misconceptions about God. By using personal subjective interpretation, they render the rule book, that is the Bible, null and void. We then looked at the fact that in America, truth is no longer considered to be the greatest virtue. There has been a drastic and frightening paradigm shift, and now tolerance is considered to be the #1 virtue in America. While tolerance used to mean respecting one another's right to believe whatever they wanted to, this new tolerance states that all beliefs are equal and all truth is relative.
Fernando Savater, the Spanish philosopher, put it this way.
Tolerance. The doctrine in vogue today is that all opinions are equal. Each has its point, and all should be respected or praised. That is to say, there is no rational way to discern between them.
Or as Thomas Helmbach, Executive Vice President of the National Lambda Chi Alpha Fraternity, explains it,
the definition of the new tolerance is that every individual's beliefs, values, lifestyles, and perception of truth claims are equal. There is no hierarchy of truth. Your beliefs and my beliefs are equal, and all truth is relative.
Now, did you catch that? The new tolerance is defined as the view that all values, all beliefs, all lifestyles, and all truth claims are totally equal. In other words, we used to be able to say, you have a right to believe and practice whatever you want, but I think you should know what you believe is wrong. But now we're being told that in order to be tolerant and loving, we have to say, who am I to judge? Your way's right if it's good for you, and my way is right also.
This modern philosophy is reflected in our culture through television, advertising, and movies that promote a have it your way and if it feels good, do it attitude.
Hey, let's all do whatever we feel like.
Universal rules. There are no losers.
However, when looking at the words of Jesus Christ himself as recorded in Holy Scripture, we see that he promoted a self-denying, clearly defined morality in statements like,
if anyone would come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for me will find it. And worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven.
By contrast, when we looked at this modern trend towards self-gratification, we see that in actuality it sounds more like the philosophy of Aleister Crowley, the father of modern Satanism, whose teachings greatly influenced what is widely accepted in satanic cults as the Satanic Bible.
Few people realize that Aleister Crowley is not only the father of modern Satanism, but the father of modern culture as well. Crowley, whose house overlooked Loch Ness and was bought by guitarist Jimmy Page, has for good reason also been called the other Loch Ness Monster. Crowley, who in his book Magic had admitted to sacrificing hundreds of children to Satan, was run out of Italy and called by the press of his day the wickedest man on earth. Crowley claimed that a demonic spirit he later identified as Satan himself dictated a book to him in 1904 called the Book of the Law. Under the heading The Law of Thelema, the Book of the Law declares, "This book lays down a simple code of conduct. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is a law, love under will. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt."
In these days of error and deception, we look to Holy Scripture for the answers. 2 Timothy 2:15 is the battle cry for this series, where we are commanded by God to do our best, to be a workman who rightly handles the word of truth. And if we do that, we will be approved by God, and we will not need to be ashamed. Join us now for the continuation of A Workman Approved by God.